My ex needs me right now. And she left. Mid-dinner. Keys already in her hand. He ate alone. In silence. She came back at 1 a.m. Would you have stayed? The door didn't slam. That was the worst part. It closed soft. Like she'd done it 100 times before. Like she'd practiced it. Marcus stood in the kitchen holding 2 plates. Dinner still hot. Candles still burning. 3 years of being the man who showed up. And she walked out the door with her keys already in her hand before she'd even finished the sentence. My ex needs me right now. Not a question. Not an apology. A statement. The way you tell someone the weather. He set the plates down before he dropped them. His hands were shaking, but his face was completely still. He recognized that feeling. It was the one that came right before everything changed. Right before your body understood something your mind was still refusing to accept. He picked up his phone, put it back down, picked it up again. He didn't call her. He wasn't sure he still could without saying something he couldn't take back. So he did what men do when they're unraveling and don't have permission to unravel. He sat down. He ate his dinner. He stared at her plate getting cold across the table, and he chewed every single bite like it was something he had to survive. His best friend Devin called at 9. Yo, you good? Yeah. You're not texting back fast. Eating. Where's Simone? There it was. The question with a knife in it. Marcus put his fork down. She left. Silence on the line. Not uncomfortable silence. The kind between 2 people who have known each other long enough that silence is just another language. Where'd she go? He said it out loud for the first time. Her ex needed her. Another beat. Which ex? Devin. Which? Ex. Darius. The silence got a different shape after that. Devin didn't say anything stupid like I told you so. Didn't say anything comforting either. He just said, you want me to come through? And Marcus said no. And they both knew that was a lie, but neither of them called it one. He hung up and sat there in the quiet. Darius. He'd only heard the name in fragments. In the careful way Simone talked around things she didn't want examined too closely. Darius was before him. Darius was complicated. Darius was someone she'd grown past. Those were her exact words. Grown past. Like he was a phase. Like he was a place she used to live. She'd never said Darius was someone she still called. She'd never said Darius was someone whose number she still had. She'd never said Darius was someone she would leave a candlelit dinner for with her keys already in her hand. Marcus got up and cleared the table. He washed both plates, dried them, put them back exactly where they belonged. There was something in the ritual of it that he needed. Some proof that he was still a person who could function. That the ground was still under his feet, even though it felt like it was tilting. He checked his phone at 9:47. Nothing. 10:15. Nothing. 11. A text. Finally. 4 words. Don't wait up. Sorry. He read it 3 times. The sorry was the most damaging part. Because it wasn't the sorry of someone who did something wrong by accident. It was the sorry of someone who made a choice and felt bad that you were caught in it. There's a difference. Most people don't know the difference until they're sitting alone at 11 o'clock at night reading 4 words on a screen, trying to figure out which version they got. He knew which version he got. He turned off the lights. He went to bed. He did not sleep. She came home at 1:17 in the morning. He heard her key in the lock, heard her trying to be quiet and almost pulling it off. The soft creak of the 3rd floorboard she always forgot about. The sound of her jacket hanging on the hook by the door. He did not move, did not speak, kept his eyes closed and listened to her get ready for bed like this was a normal night and not a night that had bent something between them. She slid into bed careful, slow, like he was something she was trying not to wake. He let her think he was asleep. In the morning she made coffee like nothing had changed. She hummed something low and shapeless in the kitchen, and he sat at the table and watched her and tried to find the version of her he recognized. You eat? She asked. Last night. Yeah. A flicker. There and gone. Marcus. Is he okay? She turned fully around then. Mug in both hands. What? Darius. Is he okay? You were there until after 1. So whatever he needed must have been serious. She set the mug down. It was. You going to tell me what it was? She looked at him, and he saw something move through her face that she didn't have a fast enough mask for. It wasn't guilt exactly. It was something older than guilt. Something that looked a lot like someone being forced to hold 2 things at once that don't fit in the same hands. He was having a really bad night, she said. Mentally. He called me because he didn't have anyone else to call. He doesn't have anyone else to call. Not like that. Like what then? What does that mean, not like that? He has no friends? No family? No one in his entire life he can call at 8 o'clock on a Wednesday, except his ex-girlfriend who's now living with someone else. She didn't answer right away. That was its own answer. He trusts me, she said. He trusts you. Marcus laughed. Not the good kind. Okay. Don't do that. Do what? That laugh. That voice. Don't make me feel like I did something wrong for helping someone who was struggling. He stood up from the table. Not fast. Not angry. Just done sitting. You left dinner. Mid-sentence. You left our dinner that I made, that I had ready for you, that I had been looking forward to all week because you've been stressed and I wanted to do something nice. And you left mid-sentence with your keys already in your hand like you'd made the decision before you even told me. That's what you did. Don't reframe that into me punishing you for having empathy. Her jaw tightened. I didn't have time to explain everything in the moment. You had time to have his number saved. You had time to know exactly where he was. You had time to get there in under 20 minutes, which means he's what, 4 miles away? 5. You had time for all of that. You just didn't have time to give me more than a sentence. That's not fair. What part isn't fair? She picked her mug back up, held it with both hands like she needed something to grip. He's not a threat to you. I didn't say he was a threat to me. You're treating this like. I'm treating this like my partner left our home without a real explanation to spend 5 hours with her ex-boyfriend. That's what I'm treating it like. Not because I'm insecure, because that's what happened. Silence. She put the mug down again. Quietly. She was doing the thing she did when she was deciding how much of herself to show. He'd learned to recognize it over 3 years. The pause before the real thing. We were together for 4 years, she said. Me and Darius. Before you. What we had it was a lot. And it ended badly, and there was a long time where neither of us was okay. And now we're friends. Real friends. Not whatever you're imagining. Real friends who check on each other. Marcus was very quiet. Did you tell me that? Before last night. Did you tell me that you had that kind of friendship with him? That he would call you when he was having a bad night? That you'd go? Her mouth opened. Closed. Because I don't remember that conversation, Simone. I remember you telling me he was your ex. I remember you telling me you'd grown past it. I remember you being vague every time his name came up. I do not remember you telling me he was someone whose crisis you would walk out of our home for. I didn't think I needed to give you a dossier on every person in my life. That's not what I asked for. Marcus, did you tell me? Yes or no? She didn't answer. That was the answer. He walked to the counter, poured himself coffee he didn't actually want. Just needed something to do with his hands. I'm not asking you to not have a past, he said. I'm not asking you to never talk to him again. I'm not even asking you to explain every friendship you have to me before you're allowed to help someone. I'm asking you to understand why what you did last night was a specific kind of thing. The kind that doesn't go away just because you explain it afterward. She was looking at him now with something that might have been regret. Real regret. The kind that doesn't come with an excuse attached. I handled it wrong, she said. Yeah. I should have talked to you. Before I left. Yeah. I panicked. He sounded bad. And I reacted. Okay. He turned around. Looked at her. I hear you. I believe that you panicked. I believe he sounded bad. I believe you care about him. I believe all of it. He set his mug down. That's not the problem. She waited. The problem is that in that panic, the thing that got cut wasn't Darius. It wasn't his call. It wasn't going to him. The thing that got cut was me. My feelings about it. My right to even know what was happening. I was just the obstacle between you and the door. And you were going to have to sit with that. Not me telling you you're a bad person. Not me saying you're still in love with him. Just, you have to sit with the fact that in that moment, I was the thing you didn't have time for. She sat down at the table. He didn't move toward her. Didn't move away. I don't know what to do with that, she said. Neither do I. That's kind of the point. They sat in it. The kitchen quiet around them. The coffee getting cold again. She looked up. Are we okay? And that was the question, wasn't it? The one that always sounds simple until you're actually inside it. Until you're standing in your kitchen with evidence of something you can't quite name and someone you love looking at you waiting for permission to stop feeling scared. I don't know yet, he said. She nodded. Like she'd expected that. Like maybe she'd already known that was the true answer and had just needed to hear him say it anyway. 3 days went by. They were careful with each other the way people are when they're not sure which surfaces are safe to touch. Polite in ways that felt like distance. affectionate in ways that felt like questions. On the fourth night, Devin came over, sat on the couch, drank Marcus's beer, said nothing about what Marcus had told him on the phone until Simone was in the other room. Then he leaned forward and said quietly, "You looked her in the eyes and told her the true thing?" "Yeah. All of it. All of it." Devin nodded slow. "How'd that go?" She cried. "Did you?" Marcus looked at the beer bottle in his hand. "Not in front of her." Devin nodded again. "Didn't push it. Just said, you know it's not about whether he's a threat, right? You already know that." "Yeah. It's about whether she knows what she has." Marcus didn't answer that. But he didn't have to. Because that was exactly it. That was the thing he hadn't been able to name sitting alone at that table with two cold plates. It wasn't about Darius. It was never really about Darius. It was about whether Simone, smart, warm, good-hearted Simone who he had built an actual life with, knew what she was standing in. Whether she could see the thing she had clearly enough to protect it when protecting it required her to pause. To look back. To choose it before walking out the door. Some people have a good thing and they know it down to their bones. And some people have a good thing and they know it, but only after. Only when the absence of it is already teaching them something new. He was waiting to find out which one she was. 2 weeks later, Darius texted her again. Marcus didn't know this until he saw her phone light up on the couch cushion between them. Didn't see the name on purpose. Saw it because it was there. 3 letters glowing up at him in the dark of the living room while they watched something neither of them was really watching. She reached for her phone. Saw his eyes. She turned the phone face down. He looked at her. She looked at him. "I'll answer tomorrow," she said. It was such a small thing. Such a simple thing. And it cracked something open in his chest that he was not prepared for. Because it was the first time she had chosen the room she was in over the one she was being called to. First time she had looked at him and decided that the thing right in front of her was worth more than the pull behind her. He didn't say thank you. Didn't make it a moment. He just put his arm around her and they went back to the show. But they both knew. She answered Darius the next morning. He wasn't looking over her shoulder. Wasn't tracking it. Wasn't waiting. He was just living his life in the same house as her. The way people who trust each other do. Even when the trust is still being rebuilt one small choice at a time. She told him about it over dinner that night. He wanted to hang out this weekend. Marcus kept eating. "What did you say?" "I said I was busy." "You're not busy." "I know." She met his eyes. "I'm not ready for you to have to be okay with something you're not okay with yet." He looked at her for a long moment. "That's the most honest thing you've said since this started." "I know that too." He reached across the table. Not dramatic. Not a reconciliation scene. Just a hand on top of a hand. 2 people who were still figuring out whether what they had was strong enough for what it was being asked to hold. It might be. It might not. That's the part nobody tells you about loving someone. The part that doesn't fit in any story about trust or betrayal or whether someone did something wrong. The part that's just 2 people sitting at a table trying to decide every single day whether what they have is worth the difficulty of having it. And here is where the story makes you look at yourself. Because it's easy to say what Simone did was wrong. Easy to measure it. Easy to find the moment she should have paused and didn't. Easy to sit on the outside of someone else's relationship and know exactly what the right answer was. But what would you have done? Not in her position. In his. If someone you love shows you that under pressure, when the world gets loud enough, they default away from you first, do you stay? Do you leave? Do you stay but keep a part of yourself back? Do you trust that the thing she did over the phone on that couch was proof enough that she was trying? How much is trying worth? And how many times? That's not a question about Marcus and Simone. That's a question about every single person reading this right now. Because most of us have been him. Some of us have been her. And if we're being ruthlessly honest with ourselves, some of us have been Darius. The one calling. The one who knows exactly who still picks up. The one who has told ourselves the story where that's okay because the connection was real, it was deep, it was complicated in ways the new person couldn't possibly understand. All 3 of those positions have a version of themselves that believes it's the innocent one. That's the thing that should keep you up tonight. Not whether Simone cheated. Not whether Marcus was too jealous. Not whether Darius was being manipulative or genuinely struggling. But whether you, right now, in your life, in your relationship, with the person you come home to, would know the difference between a choice that honors what you have and a choice that just happens to be convenient for you. And if you're not sure, that might be the most important thing you've learned all week.